Merrick Garland knows what the rules are. He issues subpoenas himself, and he doesn't let the person that he's issuing the subpoena to decide whether or not they want to comply. And yet that's what he said. He said he just doesn't think that this is something that he has to comply with. Well, with all due respect, Mr. Garland, this is not your decision. Congress has a constitutional duty to perform oversight, which is what we're doing. We're in the middle of an impeachment inquiry, which, as Chairman Jordan pointed out, has been voted on by the House already. And now we need to get the facts. You look at the White House themselves, they've acknowledged that as they've turned over the transcripts, those transcripts have been edited. Well, there's one way you can find out what the edits were, and that is to actually get the source tape, get the audio. That's the only way we're going to know what was really said. We know already by the White House's own admission that the transcript does not reflect what was said. It's only the audio that does, which is why we need to get the audio tape. And clearly there's no executive privilege. Otherwise, as been pointed out, they wouldn't have turned over the transcript in the first place. But they've done it, but they've also acknowledged that they've edited the document that they turned over to us. Now we need to get the source document, which is the audio, and that's why we're moving forward.
We got to talk about Merrick Garland because he was held in contempt yesterday. The House had a vote, and it won by one vote. I believe it was 208 to 207. Yeah, 208 to 207. One Republican voted against it. I don't remember exactly who it was. I might have saved it. Because I do want to say who it is. I thought I saved it. Maybe I didn't. But there was one Republican that voted against that. Yeah, crap. I don't think that I did save it. Goodness gracious. Yeah, no. Anyway, but the thing about this entire situation is this. Well, Matt Gaetz went on to Tim Pool's show, Timcast, and he had something interesting to say, and I 100% agree with him. And it's also one of the reasons why I'm always bringing up Matt Gaetz as one of the true Republicans. And I always say, there's only about 20 to 25 true Republicans in my estimation. And Matt Gaetz is always one that I always mention. Because every time that he comes out and speaks, I'm like, yo, I completely agree with this guy. I was saying the exact same thing. And you guys have heard me say some of the exact same things that he has said in some videos, because I've said some stuff and then I played you the clip of him saying it, and I'm just like, yo, they match. But more importantly than us agreeing, I know Matt Gaetz is going to stand on business. Matt Gaetz is no pushover. Case in point, him getting Kevin McCarthy kicked out. He was threatened, right? Or him not voting for Kevin McCarthy. Remember, he was also threatened in that situation. I forgot what congressman got in his face and was acting like they were going to fight him and everything. And Matt Gaetz stood on all 10 toes and said, hey, y'all not about to just be pushing me around. As a matter of fact, Kevin McCarthy, you're out of here. So, hey, shout out to Matt Gaetz. But I want to play this clip from Tim Pool and get your thoughts and your opinions, all right? Like, share, comment, hit that subscribe button, and let's dive in.
Big news today was House Republicans holding AG Merrick Garland in contempt for withholding Biden-Hur interview audio. The gist of this is there's a Biden health crisis. He is so unhealthy that we can't criminally charge.
Actually, there it is right there. Joyce of Ohio was the lonely Republican that voted against it. Right here, right there on your screen. Dave Joyce from Ohio. That's who it is that voted against the contempt.
Charge him for his criminal actions. But I guess you were there, Matt. Do you want to break down for us what's going on with this?
Well, I mean, rah, I guess, Tim. I mean, just zooming out, okay? We have a situation where Donald Trump is the leading contender for the presidency. He's facing unprecedented lawfare. We have the people who are involved in the state and local prosecutions going to meetings at the White House, communicating with officials at the DOJ, absorbing into their workforce senior officials from the DOJ. This is the big problem with Merrick Garland and with the Department of Justice. when we ask for those records, those calendar meetings, those emails that will really reveal to the public a new thing that people need to know, we send letters, we don't issue subpoenas that we're willing to enforce, and we just let that go. And then meanwhile, we get you leading the A block on the Timcast with, we have held Merrick Garland in contempt because he is holding from us something so rare as is Joe Biden potentially being mentally and physically feeble. I'm like, we just watched this guy probably crap his pants at D-Day. Okay, like nothing on the Merrick Garland video is going to be worse than we've already seen. But we choose that for the unprecedented power of contempt, and then we just sort of leave unaddressed the actual real issue. So yeah, I voted for the contempt. We have a right to the information. He's the president of the United States. There's an impeachment inquiry. He should have given it to us. But at the end of the day, I will not take any congratulations for House Republicans for this move, because it is like the lowest of lower energy action. And actually, I think it's rather misdirected. Like, do you want to live in a world where there's no limiting factor on the ability of any Congress in the future to go root around in an investigative file that didn't result in a criminal prosecution? Do you want to live in that world?
Nobody wants to, but do you think...
Does Steve Bannon want to live in that world? I don't know that that's like kind of the best thing for separation of powers either.
But why...
Completely agree with everything Matt Gaetz just said, and he continues on. But here, I'll show you guys that part.
Why am I leading with this on the A block?
You're leading with it because you are so thirsty for anything that we have done that is of any meaning, or that anybody is being held accountable for anything, right? It's like when the families go to SeaWorld, and like what the sea lion does is not all that impressive. Jumps up, does a flip, but like after you've been there with your kids all day and you've been sitting in that line and you've paid the $80, whatever that sea lion does is going to be good, and you're going to applaud, and you're going to pay for the $12 hot dog.
I'll give you 95%.
The bar is set low. I completely agree with Matt Gaetz. And it's also another reason why I believe, and I've said this multiple times, you guys can check the tapes. It's also why I believe the Republican Party will look completely different after Trump wins in November. That will officially trigger the realignment of the Republican Party. The Kevin McCarthy's, the Mitt Romney's, the Liz Cheney's, the Mitch McConnell's of the Republican Party, they're out of there. They're out of there. They will all be pushed out slowly but surely. And we're already seeing some of those, really all of those folks be pushed out. And we will have more Republicans in office that are like Byron Donalds and Matt Gaetz. I'm just saying, like that's the only route that this could go. And we're already seeing it. And I said this way back before, Kevin McCarthy even got pushed out. Because you could see the writing on the wall. Like, there's no way the Republican Party can carry on like this, especially when you have somebody like Donald Trump in office. Like, he's not a weak guy, you know? So, yeah, it'll look completely different. Speaking of Matt Gaetz and Byron, wouldn't that be a crazy good presidential ticket right there? Byron Donalds is president, Matt Gaetz is vice. Woo-hoo! Talk about taking no BS. Boy, man, that would be crazy. And then, after Byron spends all of his time in once his time is over as president, then Matt Gaetz could take over, and I don't know who would be Matt Gaetz' vice. But, we got a lot of time to figure that one out. That's a ways down the road, okay? But, yeah, that would be a crazy good presidential ticket. Byron Donalds and Matt Gaetz. Honestly, I do think that Byron and Matt Gaetz will be the future leaders of the Republican Party. That's just my personal opinion. I don't have any insider information, right? I haven't talked to anybody, but just from the outside looking in, those two guys look like the type of guys that are going to lead, the new Republican Party, the true Republican Party. Republicans that actually stand up to BS and don't just bow down and do like this little stuff like Matt Gaetz was talking about. Yeah, sure. Like, I agree with Matt Gaetz. Like, yeah, cool, but like, is this really that big of a deal? No, not really. I mean, should it have been done? Yes, but our bar has been set so low, it's just like, is it noteworthy? Maybe a little bit, but in the grand scheme of things, this really don't mean a whole lot. This doesn't really mean a whole lot. And I love the analogy used, comparing it to parents at SeaWorld, and you've been there all day, and yeah, the whatever does a little flip. I mean, that's not really crazy impressive. I mean, sure, it's an animal, but it's not like we've never seen animals do flips before. But you've been there so long, the bar is set so low, so it's just like, hey, cool, kind of thing. But what do you guys think, though? Do you guys agree with Matt Gaetz? Or do you disagree? Maybe you disagree. And that's fine, too. That's completely fine. I'm not saying that we all have to think the same or anything like that. Y'all know that. But I completely agree with Matt Gaetz. Completely agree. We need more. We need a whole lot more. Because make no mistake about it, if the roles were flipped and Democrats were in the position that Republicans are in, oh man, they'd be doing anything and everything possible, against Merrick Garland. Anything and everything possible. They would not stop there. They would have been, sent some subpoenas and everything. The whole nine. And yet Republicans, oh no, we don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. Which is also another reason why those folks will be out of there. Including Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. He's gone too. Too weak, too soft. That's just how I personally feel about Mike Johnson. He's too weak and too soft. He wants to be liked by everybody too much, in my humble opinion. I don't care about being liked. And neither should any other Republican in office. Who cares if you're liked? Get the job done. You know what needs to be done. You know exactly how to do it. Get it done. Just because some people are going to not like you afterwards, who gives a fuck? Excuse my language, but that's just the vibe that I get from Mike Johnson. Like, he just wants to be liked. He doesn't want to create any enemies. He's like a nice guy. And cool, kudos to you. I'm not saying you should be, the rude guy all the time, or you should be disrespectful to folks. Absolutely not. But when it comes time to get down to business, when it's time to get SHIT done, you get it done. And Mike Johnson, in my humble opinion, has definitely failed at that. But that's just my thoughts. Y'all let me know yours in the comment section. All right? Peace and love. I'm out.